So we're going to start by going over the life group leadership guide that you all have been handed. Our mission statement is doing life together, taking church from rows to circles. Coming in on Sunday morning is a great way to be fed spiritually, but when you go into people's homes, it's a great way to make that connection with other believers and really begin to form long-lasting friendships that are going to help you grow in Christ and grow in our church and grow in our community. So that's why life groups are so important to the harbor. Few requirements for a life group leader. I'm going to read these ones out, and then we'll just kind of go over, take a broad view of the other ones. You must have completed H-Track 101 and 201 before the start of each semester. So is anybody not taking H-Track? Everybody's good? Melinda, our children's pastor, has not taken H-Track. Okay, so Michael and Melinda are going to take H-Track together. H-Track is on Sunday mornings during second service. It is a quick 45-minute class that gets you integrated with the church. It gives you our mission statement, our goals, our history, where we want to go and where we've been, just so that when you have a question within your group, you have that answer to give to someone who's new or maybe has questions about attending the harbor. We ask that you use social media responsibly. This may sound silly, but as a leader of the harbor, because you are now a leader of the harbor, you are the face of the harbor in the community, we ask that you use social media responsibly. That you're not posting anything with vulgar language or content, and I understand that we live in a really politically charged world, but we just ask that that's not the topic of every Facebook post, anything that's divisive or is going to stir the pot. We want to be giving life to people and to uplifting people through all facets of life. We ask that you attend this training, so check one. We ask that you attend your weekly meetings faithfully, and we ask that you do the fun night and the serve night, which we will talk about further down. We ask that you pray regularly for your group. We ask that you pray for your coach and your leaders and your group members, that you just set a time in your morning prayers or whenever you do your devotion just to focus directly on your group. We also ask that you stay current on your group's assignment and reading. You guys, as leaders, will set the tone for how much other members participate. If they see you talking about it throughout the week responsibly on Facebook, they will also want to get excited and see what's going on and read what's next and what's going to happen. We ask that you sign and turn in the Leadership Honor Code, which I will pass out to you before we leave. And we ask that you understand and execute the roles and responsibilities that are spelled out within this guide that we are going to go over now. So next page. Next page is our life group's pastor and life group's coach. Just kind of tell you a little bit about what we're going to do. Our life group pastor is Pastor Ken and Sister Tara, and they are who cast vision for the life group's ministry. They run all of our coaches' training. They're who we go to if we need something. They're who's pouring into us so that we can pour into you, and so on and so forth. I am a coach. My husband's a coach. You met the coaches before we left the room. A coach, we're just here to help. We're here to coach. We have all led, hosted, and coordinated groups within the life group program. We understand how it can be difficult. We understand how it can be rewarding. We understand kind of where you've been, and we can help get through those times or celebrate your wins with you. We attend meetings monthly to hone our skills as leaders and hone our skills as coaches. We also communicate regularly with Pastor Ken. So if you have a question or a concern, you can come to me or Matt, and we will try to help you. And if we can't, then we'll defer to Pastor Ken, but we'd like to be your first point of contact. And it's also Matt and I's job to be in contact with you regularly, to be texting you, and we're also going to visit each group twice. And the visit's not to check up or to make sure you guys are doing it right. It's to glean leadership for the next semester. So a lot of our leadership came out of a few really successful groups last semester. When people get into the life groups and they see how much fun it is and the connections that are being made and how life-changing it is, they want to then be a part of the leadership. So it's our job to attend groups and just kind of be that salesperson. I hate the word recruiting because it sounds so, we're going to recruit you out of your life group to be leadership, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to come recruit out of your life group. So next page is our facilitators. A facilitator is the leader of the group. So I know Eric is a facilitator, I think, and Michael's a facilitator. So a facilitator is just a person who isn't necessary. We don't like the word teacher because we don't want you to teach. We want you to facilitate discussion within your group. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know the right thing to say. You just have to open up the discussion and guide which direction it goes in. Part of the responsibilities we ask from you is that you really get to know your fellow leaders and you really get to know your group. You get to know your flock, Proverbs 27 and 23, that you know if someone needs prayer, or you know if someone needs a meal cooked because they're having surgery, or if their mom is sick, so that you can be that representative of the harbor who's reaching out to them. We have such a large congregation that even the whole pastoral wing can't know everything about everybody and take care of everybody. So a facilitator and a coordinator and a host, all of you, really can be that hands and feet of the church, making sure that people feel connected and well taken care of within this community. So kind of nuts and bolts, we ask that you're at your group 15 minutes prior at the location. Real important, we ask you that you keep the group to the 90-minute time slot. Sometimes you're going to have to cut the group off, and that's just going to be okay. And you're going to have to say, let's have this discussion next week, or let's continue this discussion on our Facebook group. But that 90-minute time slot is what we've asked our hosts to agree to. And a lot of people have a babysitter, and they need to get home to that. And it may be a really great discussion, and things may be flowing really well, but we really need to keep things to that 90 minutes. I know that sounds kind of stringent, but that's one of those things that we've had the biggest complaint about early on, where we would have a 3 or 4 hour group and people are sitting there feeling like they can't leave, but their babysitter's at home and they're paying $10 an hour and they're like, I have to go, I can't come back because I can't keep doing this. So 90 minutes is what we ask. That you meet with your fellow leaders prior to class starting. We're going to give you some time tonight to talk with your fellow leadership and start forming a syllabus. And if not everybody's here tonight, which I know not everybody's here tonight, we ask that you meet maybe on Sunday and go out to lunch together, or, have a teleconference or what's the Zoom. We just did that app the other day. I don't know if everybody's heard of that. It's an app where you can conference via phone. And your syllabus, which I have an outline for, your syllabus is due back to Matt or myself by January 28th. So that's the only date. And then we ask that you have a syllabus for each member of your group on the first meeting, and I will gladly make copies for you here at church so you don't have to get those copies made somewhere else. So next is coordinator. Coordinator is just kind of the communications person. That's Miss Melinda. She's our coordinator of the group. She's the only one. So the coordinator is the communications person. We ask that you also arrive 15 minutes early to your group. We ask that you log into fellowship or in fellowship regularly once we start accepting members, which will be this upcoming Sunday. So we ask that the facilitator is the only person that is approving members in fellowship. All of you are going to get messages saying, Bobby Joe requested to be a part of your group. but we ask that only the coordinator is the one approving them. We've had a few times in the past where the host is approving, and the coordinator is approving, and the facilitator is approving, and then all of a sudden we have 27 people in a group in a house that only seats 10. So we need to make sure that one person is approving, and then that person is immediately contacting them with an email saying, our first group is thus and such a date, we're so excited to have you, I'm your coordinator, here's contact information. That email needs to be sent out as soon as you hit approve. You're sending the email saying, welcome, here's the group information, so that people have immediate contact from us as soon as they're asking to join. The other portion with coordinating, people will sign up online in the traditional way that we've been doing it, but now we've added in our kiosks. So people will be joining via kiosk. That does not add them directly into your group. I will have to go in on Monday morning and add all those people into your group, so they will automatically be there. You will not get an email saying that they've requested because I've just gone ahead and added them, but I will tell you, I will email you and say, hey Melinda, I added Joe Smith, Bobby Joe, and Susie, Billy Bob, and Susie, and they all need to be contacted so that you'll know who gets contacted and when. We also try to cap our groups at 20 is the max amount of people we want to have sign up. 20 sounds like a lot, and I understand that for our hosts, but if we have 20 sign up, we'll probably have 15 come the first time, and then we'll probably be at around that 10 to 12 to 15, which is the real sweet spot on numbers consecutively through every week. Unless you're Josh Cribbs, and then you have 27 people sign up, and 27 people come religiously, and they bring their friends, and they, grow the church within one life group, which is awesome. The other portion of the coordinator job is every week we ask the coordinator to send out an email that reminds people of food rotation if you're going to be doing what your food is, what your study is, any prayer requests you have, just as a regularly touching base. And it seems a little redundant when you're doing it every week for 8 weeks, but it needs to happen because we all get caught up and we get busy and we forget. We need that regular reminder of what's next. So, Miss Trish, you're a coordinator too for our cooking. I forgot about that. So, I will teach you. So, the other portion to that, I have a note. I will do a video on In Fellowship and how that works and how to approve people and how to see who's been added to your group, and I will post that on Facebook so that everybody can watch it, rewatch it, ask questions. So you'll all do that. And we ask that everybody's logging in and taking note. And if a coordinator or if a host or a facilitator sees that their coordinator hasn't approved anybody and they have 15 people waiting to be approved, just reach out to that coordinator and make sure that they are receiving the emails, or there might be a glitch in the system that they're just not even seeing it. So don't think the worst of them. Most of them are wonderful, right, Melinda? So we are going on the next page. There's a coordinator example email, and this is kind of for everybody. Anything that you're sending out is a direct representation of the harbor and the harbor leadership. So we ask that you double and triple check spelling. I run things through Microsoft Word regularly to make sure I have every apostrophe and every comma and everything is all in order before I put it into an email format, just so that we're sending out the best quality communication we can. We recommend that you read an email out loud. I know that sounds silly, but it can be clunky until you read it out loud and you're like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. Just really intentional in what you're sending and I don't want to use the word careful, but very planned in what you're sending out because it is the face of the church. The other important portion of coordinator or facilitator, we ask that you consider creating a Facebook group, or if everybody in your group wants to do a Group text message, do a group. We have lots of people that do group text message if that's okay with them. That community that you create within that time outside of your 90 minutes a week is what is going to make your group successful, is what is going to build that connection, build that bridge, and make people feel like we want them, which we do, more than a 90 minutes here and a 90 minutes there. We want a long-term relationship with them. We want them to have long-term relationships within the harbor. And those little weekly encouragements or questions or inspirations can go a long way to create that community outside of your 90-minute session. So Facebook, that's a great way to stay connected. I know Mr. Groover does not have Facebook, but he might consider it. We might push you right over the edge and you can do it. We ask that you be really intentional about your reaching out. I set reminders on my phone, and I do it as soon as I get up in the morning. If I need to post something, I do it early in the morning, because if I get into the day, I will forget to say, hey, what's your favorite shoe color? And that may be silly, but it's what's going to get a discussion, and you're going to talk about what color shoes you had when you were 10, and somebody else is going to say, oh, I had those same shoes, and then you start to build that community, that rapport with everyone in your group. So be really intentional. Set reminders in your phone. Make events so that when you see it, you remember to do it. Plan it out. Make sure that you've got it all scheduled out. As silly as it sounds, it's not a selfie, it's an Ussie. Take an Ussie of your group. Post it. People love to see themselves participating. That's a great way to get other people excited or ask about, well, what is this cooking group? Why are you all, whose kitchen are you in? What are you doing? What are you cooking? What, can I come next week? It's a great way to build attendance as well as your community. So that's kind of my spiel on coordinating and building community. Last but not least, we are going to talk about hosts. Jan and Billy Gillett are hosts of the session, and they are the host and hostess with the mostess. So we're going to review this real quick. We ask that a host has a living room, den, or common area that's clean, free of distraction, with adequate seating to hold your meeting. If for some reason you do not have enough chairs, we have plenty of chairs that can be loaned out, that we will happily loan you out. We also have a limited number of folding tables, but we have lots of chairs. So we will happily help you out with that. We ask that 20 minutes before your meeting, you just kind of do a 10-second tidy on the area, make sure it's all picked up, make sure pets are put away. Pets are kind of a sticking point. I have a lot of them. I have 2 dogs, a pig, a whole handful of chickens, 3 kids. It's crazy in my house. And a husband. And a cat. That's not my cat, but lives in my house ever so often. Before I host a life group, I need to make sure that my 2 dogs, 16 chickens, pig, husband, children are all put away so nobody has to deal with them. Some people are terrified of animals. Some people are allergic to animals. Some people just simply don't want to be around a pig. Who knew? Yes, he lives inside my house and sleeps in my bed. So we just ask as a host that you're respectful of everyone and just have your animals put up. So the other portion with hosting is within your group, you need to decide if children are going to be welcome in your home. And if they are not, that is fine. We ask that you consider it. If you decide against it, we understand. Within your group, we ask that you talk about maybe if they can't be at the home, maybe an off-site childcare. Maybe somebody else has a teenager that they wouldn't mind having a few kids at. We leave childcare up to each group. We leave payment up to each group. We leave organization up to each group. We do ask that you discuss it, though. It's an easy one to just kind of gloss over, but childcare especially in a Navy town, can be a really make it or break it thing. We've lived here for 2 years. I don't have someone that I could call on a regular basis and say, hey, could you keep my kids every Tuesday? So childcare is kind of a make it or break it thing for me. They either get to come and be part of the menagerie at your house, or I don't get to be a part of things. So it's difficult to do, and I understand that. It's hard to arrange, and we appreciate how hard it is to arrange, but we ask that you make your best effort to accommodate people within your class. I'm going to look over my notes real quick to make sure I got everything covered before we go over leadership agreement. Promotion, group promotion. So, we at the Harbor will promote everyone's group equally. We will put it on our Facebook page, we will put it on our kiosks, we will put it on our Harbor WC page, we will talk about it from the pulpit, we will give pamphlets, we will do our life group fair this upcoming Sunday. We will do all of those things, but the best way to promote a group is for you all to get excited about your group and talk about it and tell other people about it and invite them to it. If you are reading your book right now, which we're going to make sure you have your books before you leave if you have a book to your study, post a quote, post a passage, post a selfie of you reading your book, post a picture of your book. Beach towel is not the right time for a beach towel. Next to your cozy blanket and your fireplace. People will want to know. People will get excited. People will ask questions, and that's a great way to invite them into the group. Tell your coworkers and your neighbors and your friends. Maybe somebody that you don't necessarily feel like it's too much of a stretch to invite them to a Sunday, but it's not too much of a stretch to invite them to go to my friend Trisha's house next Tuesday. Let's go hang out at Trisha's house, see what she's doing. And people, so Sister D and Brother Wes, they started coming to our church through a life group. They didn't come to our church. They went through a full semester of life group at somebody else's house before they even came and checked out the Harbor. So life groups are a great way for people in the community to get to know the Harbor, get to know us, get to know what we're about, and then they'll come check out Sundays. So we ask that you promote your group. Get excited about it. Tell everybody about it. That's the best way to promote a group is self-promotion. So let me make sure one more time, just to make sure I get everything. Okay, I think that's everything. Does anybody have any questions about roles, responsibilities, what it means to be a leader within the Harbor? We're good? Okay. So this is our life group leadership agreement. I'm going to pass this out. I am going to read this verbatim, just so that we're real clear on what we're asking. If this, for any reason, feels uncomfortable to you, or you do not want to agree to this, you are by no means required to agree to this and then be a leader within the Harbor Life Group program. There's no pressure to sign this if you don't feel comfortable. So it reads, thank you for serving as a life group leader at the Harbor Worship Center. As a life group leader, you will be viewed by those within your group as a leader in church. As a result, we ask that you enter into a leadership agreement with the Harbor Worship Center by making the following commitments. 1, I will embody and reflect the values and principles of the Harbor Worship Center, and I will follow the leadership standards by maintaining a disciplined life of Bible reading, praying, and fasting. I will also refrain from using profanity, smoking, chewing tobacco, gambling, indulging in alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs, sexual immorality, and any other behaviors that might cause others to stumble. 2, I will faithfully attend the Harbor Worship Center on Sunday. Intentionally identify and greet those in my life group, reach out to those who are not yet connected, participate in my church through financial giving, lead my group in serving together once a semester. 3, I will make my life group a priority, faithfully attending my small group, preparing beforehand for my group each week, inviting, welcoming others to joining my group. 4, I understand that I am responsible for the care and the health of my life group. As a result, I will pray for the individuals within my group, use my personal social media accounts to uplift and to promote unity, maintain open lines of communication with my other group members and coaches, lead my group in providing care for one another, regularly reporting attendance via in-fellowship. I will strive to create an environment of growth within my group by involving as many other people as possible in group discussion, creating a safe and comfortable, welcoming environment, beginning and ending on time. Following these guidelines will provide an example in speech and action, encouraging others to grow in Christ and become leaders themselves. Failure to comply with the leadership training guide and/or leadership agreement may end in removal from life group leadership. Does anybody have any questions over what we are asking out of you? Just real clear, absolutely no. Even if you are meeting in a restaurant for your fun night, we ask that there is no alcohol involved, and we ask that there is no smoking or gambling involved. Even if you are not in someone's home or officially having your group, we just ask that yes. No. Okay. So the answer is if you're cooking and you need wine to make butter sauce. As long as you're not partaking of the wine while you're cooking, I think we will be A-okay. No, that's a very good question. That's kind of a gray line, but I think as long as we're not pouring some from ourselves and some for the pan, we should be good, because the alcohol will cook off and it will just be the flavor. So, pardon? No. So, few other things that I thought of while I was reading over this, other than the alcohol and the smoking. In fellowship, regularly reporting attendance via in fellowship. Our coordinators, you need to report attendance weekly. We track attendance, we turn attendance in. Attendance is how we decide whether or not we will offer a group again. We are required to turn our attendance into the church state office every month. So if you're not turning your attendance in, I have nothing to give Tanya, and Tanya has nothing to give the state office. Therefore, it's trickle-down effect the opposite way, and by the time it gets to me, we're in huge trouble, so by the time it gets to you, we're really urgent. We need attendance every week. It's super simple. You will get an email. If your meeting starts at 6:30, you will get an email at 6:30 automatically from In Fellowship. It will say, please enter your attendance. I would click on that email as soon as I got it, take the attendance, hit send while I was sitting there, so I didn't even have to think about taking attendance when I got home or when the next day or anything like that. So attendance. That's the biggest one. So last but not least, before we pass out syllabuses, two of the things that we ask that you do is have fun together and serve together. I think you'll find that some of your best or most memorable times are when you're having fun together or you're serving together. Serving together is going to be kind of different this semester. The Harbor is doing what's called Love Week. It will be March 4th through the 10th. So the Harbor will be setting up service projects. So I don't know, I don't have exact. I have kind of a general idea. So if these don't happen, don't get mad at me. We've talked about setting up where 10 groups cook a meal all at the same time, and so at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday, every firehouse in Camden County gets a meal from the Harbor Worship Center. So we're making impact that way. Maybe we are at the Shell station on the corner pumping $10 in gas into every person's car that comes in for the next half an hour. Maybe we are at Dunkin' Donuts, because they'll let us take over Dunkin' Donuts. And maybe we are serving free coffee for the next 50 people that come through, saying thanks for coming to, come check out the harbor. So there will be service project opportunities on Love Week for every person in our church, but it will be a great time to incorporate your service project into that time. If you don't want to do Love Week, or if you just want to do Love Week personally and your group chooses not to do Love Week, that is A-okay. We have a whole host of other opportunities. There are always serve projects within Camden County. We ask that your serve project is done out in the community. As wonderful it is to serve here at the harbor, our goal is to make an impact in Camden County. I love to ask the question, if you left the community today, would someone else notice that you were gone? Or how long would it take someone else to notice you were gone? I mean, if I left my family, my children would know within about 30 seconds because Dad would say, I don't know, go find your mom. But if I left Camden County, would anyone even notice? Am I making an impact on someone's life right now? That they would feel the not hurt, but the missing piece of me being there. We want to be a huge part in Camden County. We want, if something happened, if the rapture came and the harbor was gone, we'd want somebody to go, well, dang, where'd they go? They were really helpful in X, Y, or Z. So that's why our Serve Week is so important. So discuss within your group whatever you want to do. Maybe you have a project near and dear to your heart. We have one group that always does something for CareNet. We have another group that always does something for Missions for Camden. Maybe you have something that you wanna focus on. If not, Love Week is great. The other thing that we ask that you do is have Fun Week. I've scheduled it out where Fun Week is at the end. Fun Week could move. It could be in the middle. It could be, however that works out. Fun Week can be Top Golf. Fun Week can be going to dinner. Fun Week could be going to the movies. Fun Week could be, maybe you have a women's group. Maybe you hang out and eat popcorn and watch fried green tomatoes. I don't know. It doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to just include your group. It could include the whole families of your group. It could be something big and elaborate. It could be something super simple. It's whatever you and your group decide that you think would be fun that you want to do together. We just ask that you're intentional in it. You plan it out. You make sure it happens. And last thing on this, you will see the first meeting, which our first meetings will be the week of February 4th through the 10th. Pass these out real quick to our facilitators. You guys don't have a facilitator, or Michael's your facilitator. Sorry. And then Eric. And then Matt and I are a group. So Matt's our facilitator. We're doing fishing. The first week is just a meet and greet. You're not diving right into your study. It just kind of gives people a chance to test it out. Make sure it's something they want to be a part of. Make sure it's a group of people that they think they could spend the next 12 weeks with or 8 weeks with, however long your study is. So we want your fun night to be fun. Or your first night to be fun, your meet and greet. So as you guys talk, figure out what you want to serve for dinner. Kind of maybe you want to play an icebreaker game. If you need help with an icebreaker game, Josh Cribbs is the icebreaker game king. He has the best ideas. I don't know where he comes up with them. Just something real casual, because then it also gives people the chance to say, hey, I met this really cool group of people. We meet on Tuesdays. Our first class is next week. So that they are having the context of, I like these people. This sounds like fun. I want to go get more. Let me round up my friends, and we're all going to go. So that's just real quick, the syllabus in a nutshell. Meet and greet. You can plug in your weeks, your studies, however they fit. You don't have to take off the week of the 18th to the 24th. There's just no school. That's kind of a 5-day weekend. So people may or may not be around. And like I said, this is not a hard, steadfast syllabus. This is just kind of a rough outline that you can work with within your group, whatever works out best for you. And these are due on January 28th emailed to me, and I'm going to give you my contact information right now. So again, my name is Stacia, S-T-A-C-I-A. Last name is Zink, Z-I-N-K. My phone number is area code 518-669-1599. And my email is stacia.zink@harborwc, as in worshipcenter.com. So that's how you get in contact with me. If you have not gotten an email, from us, chances are we do not have your correct email address. So if you have not gotten an email from us, see me before you leave so that I can get your correct or most up-to-date email address so that you are for sure getting contact and information from us. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns? No? Okay. So if your group has a study, this group, I want to make sure that we get your book in your hand before you leave here tonight so that you are reading, getting excited, and posting about it on social media. So that's what we got. If that's all, thank you all for coming. We appreciate you, and you will be hearing from us soon. Yes, please, can I have your leadership agreements back before you leave?